One of the partners there at some point.
Let me check. Yeah.
Time 7 o'clock. I call this session of the Whitewater Student Government to order. If you are able, please rise and turn that direction as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wonderful. And with that, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Senator Bowl, Senator Beasley, Senator Carter,
Present.
Senator Irwin,
Present.
Senator Esterholm, Senator Gross, Senator Gutzlaff, Senator Houston, Senator Kelvin,
Present.
Senator Keebler, Senator Kelleher, Senator Kirakopoulos, Senator Majors, Senator Patrigas, Senator Punzel,
Present.
Senator Purnell,
Present.
Senator Reberg,
Present.
Senator Reyes, Senator Schmidt, Senator Wheatman, Speaker Wilson.
Present. And with that, we will move on to special orders, starting with item A, appointment of one Esker district seat. Is there anyone in the gallery tonight interested in running for an Esker district seat? Going once, going twice. Seeing none, with that, we'll move on to the appointment of one Drumlin district seat. Is there anyone in the gallery tonight interested in running for a Drumlin district seat? Going once, going twice. Seeing none, with that, we're on to the appointment of one at-large district seat. Is there anyone in the gallery interested in running for an at-large district seat? Going once, going twice. Seeing none, with that, we'll move on to the appointment of one off-campus district seat. Is there anyone in the gallery interested in running for an off-campus district seat?
I'd like to.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. If you could, please come up to the podium. We don't have our normal projector today, folks. So if you could, once you get up there, if you could tell us all your name.
My name is Jordan Brzezinski.
Wonderful. And Jordan, you'll have 3 minutes to tell us a little bit about why you want to be the next senator of the Whitewater Student Government, name, major, all those good things. The floor is yours, my friend.
Awesome. Thank you. Like I said, my name is Jordan Brzezinski. I am an occupational safety student at the Whitewater main campus. I'm a junior, and I currently live off campus in an apartment. I'd like to join WSG because I want to be a part in making a difference on campus and just in general. That's a big thing I really strive for, is being able to make a difference either in the community or wherever I'm at.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. With that, we'll move into a couple questions. Are there any questions tonight? Senator Carter?
What leadership positions have you held in the past? So I've actually held multiple different leadership positions. I am an Eagle Scout, so that means I have been Boy Scouts for quite a long time. So I've held positions such as assistant troop leader, patrol leader, assistant patrol leader, stuff like that. I've actually, from that Eagle Scout project, I've led and coordinated the clearing of land and installation and building of a mental health awareness playground on our local Riverbend Trail. So.
Senator Cobb?
What is one initiative or one thing you'd like to see changed at Whitewater, and why you would see that?
Yeah, actually, this kind of brings me to something that I thought of today. It's kind of a story. I walked into, I think it was a study area, and I saw there was a little poster for a bags tournament that was held last week, and I looked at it and thought to myself, oh, that looks like a lot of fun. I'd love to do that. I saw that it was last week. Something that I thought would be nice is maybe kind of getting information like that out to people that are even off campus and stuff, people that necessarily aren't on campus as much. I think that it would be nice to get that information out to people about different events on campus.
Senator Punzel?
Kind of a twofold question, but what is the biggest challenge you've ever faced in leadership, and how did you overcome it?
This brings me back to my Eagle Scout project. The first business that I tried contracting to come clear the area for the land that I was clearing, they were full gung-ho and doing it, and then they just stopped responding. And I was in a pretty tight time constraint with this project, so I really needed to try to find another person. So I did a lot of networking and stuff with my team, and I was able to find someone that could come as quick as possible to clear the area. I'd say it's definitely the most challenging part of my project.
Wonderful. Senator Gross?
I would say an adjustable wrench because one, it can adapt to just about anything. It's useful in many ways, and it can do a lot of different things, even be a hammer if it wanted to be.
Any other questions? Going once? Going twice? Seeing none. With that, we will move on to a roll call vote. Thank you so much, Jordan. We will move on to a roll call vote. A vote of aye will be a vote in favor of the candidate. A vote of nay will be a vote against. Everyone all good? With that, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Senator Carter,
Aye.
Senator Irwin,
Aye.
Senator Esterholm, Senator Gross, Senator Gutzlaff, Senator Kelvin, Senator Majors, Senator Punzel,
Aye.
Senator Purnell, Senator Reberg, Senator Reyes, Senator Schmidt, Senator Wheaton, sorry, Speaker Wilson.
Aye. And with that, congratulations in a unanimous vote. Jordan, you've become the next member of the Thank you so much. With that, we will move on to the appointment of 2 Rock County District seats. Is there anyone in the gallery tonight interested in running for a Rock County District seat? Going once? Going twice? Seeing none. Oh. Wonderful. Please rise. Thank you so much. You can come join us up here at the podium. If you could, please state your names.
My name is Ashira.
Wonderful. And then you'll have 3 minutes to tell us a little bit about why you want to be the next senator of the Whitewater student government, some of the things that are interesting to you, name, major, and then we'll go into questions. The floor is yours.
My name is Ashira. I major in psychology, and I go to Rock County, but I stay on campus. So I feel like being here and then being able to go there, I'll be able to get involved to one side, to Rock County, and to the north side, to Rock County.
You're right. No worries. No worries. With that, we'll move on to questions. Are there any questions tonight? Senator Gross. Senator Carter.
What would you change if time, money, and labor wasn't in the picture? What would you change either on the Rock County campus or on Whitewater?
The engagement, like especially at Rock County, because it's hard to get people to join and stuff, and like, or because you could tell some people want to do stuff, but I feel like they be scared. So I would change like the way we approach stuff and like make people comfortable and want to do stuff. Join us.
Senator Punzel.
As a leader, you'll always encounter criticism. How will you handle criticism?
So just take it in. I don't know, you're not gonna like some stuff that you told, but sometimes you gotta take it in and go with it.
Senator Cowan.
What is one initiative that you'd like to see move forward either with Rock or Whitewater, and why?
Just the communication between Rock and Whitewater, because you never know what's going on with y'all, and y'all never know what's going on with us. So that's what they do.
Any other questions? Going once, going twice, seeing none. With that, we will move into a roll call vote. A vote of aye will be a vote in favor of the candidate. A vote of aye will be a vote against. We're good. With that, Madam Clerk, when you're ready, would you please call the roll?
Senator Irwin,
Aye.
Senator Esterholm, Senator Gross, Senator Gutzlaff, Senator Kelvin, Senator Majors, Senator Punzel,
Pass.
Senator Purnell, Senator Reberg, Senator Reyes, Senator Schmidt, Speaker Wilson,
Aye.
Senator Carter,
Aye.
Senator Punzel.
Aye.
Wonderful. And with that, we have congratulations. Congrats to the both of you. If you could stick around and see me after the meeting, and I'll tell you about the details for next week. Good stuff. With that, we'll move on to guest speakers. We do have a guest speaker tonight. It is my honor to welcome up Tricia Clayson.
Thank you all. First off, let me say I appreciate you all coming out here tonight. I don't think I have said this directly in the times that you have come, but we know what it means that you come here. Not every branch campus has this kind of connection and involvement, and it means a lot, so thank you. Also, for some reason, whenever you come here, I start going into debate mode, and I find myself talking, and I'm not ready to flow. I don't know if you all have done debate, because I feel that right now. Anyway, I'm going to try to slow my roll a little bit and talk normally, but I want to go really fast. I'm going to start where it might not be expected, and that is celebrating staff. I don't know if you have seen, but for the second time since we restructured with Whitewater, we had a W.P. Roseman Award winner named Dr. Kim Koska, a chemistry professor and associate dean. And I think that says a lot about the value of teaching and learning on campus. And so really in 6 years to have 2 Roseman Award winners from the College of Integrated Studies. Sarah Harvey, who many of you got to tour with tonight, and we'll talk about a little bit more later, also received an Academic Staff Award this year. And Tanya Anderson, our Campus Administrative Specialist, also got a University Staff Award. And I just, again, I'm so proud of our people. We work really hard because we're so small and we have to play lots of different roles. And those people are all lockstep on the mission of supporting student and access. Probably the thing you're expecting to hear about programs. You all got a tour or an opportunity, so I know you saw the nursing labs, which completed construction this past fall, and the students who are in the BSN program were able to complete all of their clinicals on campus this spring, which is amazing. We will have our first graduates. They are Edgewood College graduates, but they got their associate's degree from us first, and we're excited about that. But we continue to explore bachelor's pathways. Our mission is affordable pathway to a bachelor's degree, and we've just had the Board of Regents pass the Bachelor of Science in Medical Science. This is our first BS at University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, Rock County. Yeah, please. That is a partnership with Mercy Health. So students can do 2 years here, and then they go into the clinical program for sonography or radiography with Mercy Health. Next steps in that, we will have a proprietary emphasis, in about a year in medical lab science. So people will be able to get a full 4-year degree here. Another one that's been really exciting for us, I've talked in the past about our Bachelor of Arts and Sciences degree, which is largely a degree completion for a technical college degree. One that got passed this spring that we are so excited about, just for folks who have the Foundations of Teacher Education Applied Associate's degree from a technical college. These are folks largely working as paras, aides in districts, and they don't have a good pathway. If they were to transfer into any program, they'd maybe get 18 credits. Well, they now get a full 60. And in 2 years, they can get K through 9 licensure to teach in the state of Wisconsin. So when I have gone out and talked with technical colleges, they actually applaud. They're so excited about this. So those are some big steps in programming. We've got more coming down the pipeline, but I'm just, again, we are really trying to make sure that students see that they have a path forward. I know Trevor Reese was supposed to be here to talk a little bit about competitive sports. We did bring back athletics this fall. We had men's soccer and women's volleyball and JCAA Division III. We are having some changeover. We have the same soccer coach team coming back, but we'll have a new volleyball coach team coming, and so we're really excited about that. I'm starting to see some strong strides in recruiting in that space. Scholarships for the 3rd year in a row. Everybody who applied for a scholarship will receive a scholarship. It's huge. And one of the things that we're working on, though, is being able to replenish that. So working with Foundation to increase alumni engagement so we can ensure that we continue to be able to provide that kind of support. I think I talked about this in the past, but kind of an offset. We have a campus theme every year. This year's was Connections Are Everything, which was the student companion to the relationship education, right? And a couple of things happened as a result of that. We have a convocation in the fall, speaker, all kinds of things happening. Students speak together groups. A couple things happened immediately. One is a new club was formed that day. Grandma's house. Arts and crafts. People get together. Like they formed that day. It was amazing. But in addition to that, we have somebody who had several ideas. Professor Ken Broski, some of you may have heard of him. He has developed a peer mentoring program for students who came back on appeal in the spring. They have a faculty mentor. They meet weekly. This involves texting them to remind them to do homework, to keep them on target. For bringing that back in the fall. In fact, he's also going to be given release time to be a retention specialist. So we're really excited about working that retention space. It's especially hard on a 2-year campus and a mission of access. Our retention rates will never match what main campus has for retention rates, but we can do better, and we know that. Some of you may have noticed that we had a change in leadership in the past year. Our beloved Kristen Philhauer, who used to be our Associate Dean of Enrollment and Student Affairs, is now the Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs. And yeah, so I've worked with Kristen 20, and for many years, people have referred to us as the head and the heart of this campus. Now, I'm not the heart, just so you know, and that doesn't mean I'm smarter. I'm just not the heart. You all got a good one. You've got somebody really special who cares about students more than anybody I have ever met. She is committed to student success, and I'm really proud of her. But that meant some restructuring here. So Sarah Harvey, who did the tour with some of you, is now the Director of Enrollment and Student Affairs on campus, and we're super excited about that. She's been a recruiter and a program coordinator. Lots of great ideas, excited about that. Kim Koska will remain an Associate Dean of Academic Affairs. We felt that was an important position for her to have. And now next year, we're doing a little bit of other kinds of reorganization, kind of mirroring and mimicking what's happening in student affairs at Whitewater, thinking about buckets of places where we can have effect. And one of the big ones is creating a student success committee, again, largely focused on retention. They will be dealing with research related to DFWI rates, programs that we can implement to ensure students feel supported. Also looking at expanding Janine's role as student experience coordinator, kind of thinking about that more, about the whole spectrum of student life and having connections to Whitewater campus programs and student affairs. I'm gonna stop there. I talked too fast. All right. I think that's all the updates I can get for now.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Are there any questions while we have you? Does anybody have any questions on any of that? I have one myself, if that's okay.
Sure.
You were talking about the Student Success Committee. What is that makeup going to look like? How are you making sure that, when you're talking about student success, how are you ensuring that students are a big part of that
Absolutely.
framework
Student
that you built?
representation on it. Student representation on all committees, whenever we're able to get them. Right? They're invited and able to be a part of it. That committee will have the student experience coordinator will be on it. Our retention expert will be on it. And I'm drawing a blank on all of the other people that we're planning on, but there will be faculty representation, obviously, and then again, students involvement.
And what would are you just looking to create a student success framework, or what does that look like?
No, we wouldn't recreate that. That's already created for Whitewater, right? But it's really about saying we have a committee that's actively engaged in ensuring that our programming is meeting student needs.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Any other questions? Senator Cobb?
There was 2 questions. One, I know they went on specific. Do you have a general trend line in retention rates? And then, the other.
General trend line has been positive, again, much lower. We tend to fall in the 50% rate for retention from first year to second year. Now that does include students who have transitioned to Whitewater campus, so that's part of it, but we're open access. So students with any GPA can come, and that means that we do tend to see students with a lower success rate all spring. So that's one of the reasons why this peer mentoring program is so valuable for those students who are coming back on appeal, to be able to have some mechanism to help them through.
Senator Cobb, follow up?
This is what the second question I was going to ask. And then, do you know the trend line for enrollment here? I don't need specifics, but I'm just curious about the general trends.
Well, general trends have been for the past 3 years, we've seen enrollment increases fall over fall. This fall is a little bit difficult to predict because of direct enrollment. In our case, currently, our admits are up 300%, and we do not think that's an accurate statement of where we're going to land, right? So we're trying to find measures. Number one, we're doing a number of calling campaigns to those students who have been admitted to make sure that they're registering for SOAR so that we can use that. Our SOAR numbers are up actually pretty substantially, but they also, remember, we started earlier and our first SOAR is actually this Thursday. So everything is trending fairly early for us, which is unusual. We do have some interesting numbers in at about 25% of our SOAR folks are nursing majors. So we also expect them to actually matriculate and be on campus. Our housing numbers are pretty flat, which again is an indication of good things. I can say from our scholarship, 44 out of 90 had above a 3.0, which is really substantial in our case. So we're seeing some changes in the demographics of students that are coming, and I think that is largely in that pre-health space. So we feel like we will at least be flat. I'm a pessimist. So I say flat is awesome, and that's what we have budgeted for. All markers indicate we should be up, but I won't go there until I actually see it real. Because we tend to trend late. It tends to be July before we have any real sense of where we're landing. Our fall enrollment is also already up by about 2%, which is not a lot, but hey, we'll take it. Thank you for the question.
Wonderful. Senator Gross?
First, I'd like to start. Thank you so much for having us here. I very much enjoyed this. We were seeing all the different spaces, little mannequins, and even though they were really
Yeah.
And you talked a lot about how areas that Rock campus is thriving, and then also some of the areas of growth. Is there any way that like students specifically Rock County campus or even in campus want to maybe to kind of help with?
Tell people about it. Honestly, word of mouth has long been our greatest benefit. People don't find us on social media, although you can right now. It's really fun. We've got some interesting social media things happening. I keep getting texts. I just saw you on the ESPN app. I'm like, I don't know if that's our target market, but great. Really talking about that experience and sharing what's out there for us. I think that's more than anything that's valuable. Thank you. I thought you were going to ask me what tool I was, but thank you.
I have a question. If you were a tool in the toolbox, what would you be?
That's a really good one. I think I'm an Allen wrench because you need that one special tool to fit sometimes. It's the only thing that works. And I think right now I'm in that mode.
Wow.
Thing that works.
That's a good, I don't think I've heard Alan. Good answer.
It was sitting on my counter when I left, so just kidding.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. All righty, wonderful. With that, we will move into the approval of the agenda and minutes, starting with the minutes from April 21st, 2025. Can I get a motion to approve? Senator Carter? Motion. Seconded by Senator Cowell. Wonderful. With that, the minutes passed unanimously, and we're on to item B, agenda for April 28th, 2025. I would quickly ask for unanimous consent to do two things. One is add Tricia Clayson, Dean of College of Integrated Studies, to the agenda, and the other is to remove internal evaluations from internal committee reports. Any objections? Seeing none, so moved. With that, can I get a motion to approve the agenda from April 28th, 2025? Senator Puzzle? Motion approved. Seconded by Senator Gross. With that, the agenda for April 28th, 2025 has been approved unanimously. With that, we're on to student issues and concerns. Are there any student issues and concerns in the gallery tonight? Going once? Going twice? Seeing none. With that, we are on to reports. Starting with external committee reports, we will start with the Chancellor's Committee on Veterans and Service Members Success. Senator Punzel, whenever you're ready, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. All right, I'm going to try to keep this quick. So we met on 16 April at 2 p.m. in the Veterans Lounge in the back of the Anderson Library. So one of the first things we discussed was the aftermath of the medallion hunt. Overall, it was a massive success, and we are planning to do it again next spring. Another plan discussed was a potential Easter egg hunt for around Easter time in the spring. Grand prize is still up in the air, but a few ideas such as an Easter basket or gift cards have been floated around. Another thing that was discussed was newly implemented changes to SOAR, where now veteran students will no longer go with the Hawk Squad and instead will go with Isaac and Miss Amy Moore for a separate information session. Then that same day, veteran students met with the chancellor at 10 a.m. There was a lot of feedback, and it was all very constructive. One issue that was brought up was the location of the Veterans Lounge. Another was in regards to the new student seminar course. One of the big complaints was they felt the course pacing was slow. And third to last topic discussed was merging the organization, as Veteran Services currently falls under both Student Affairs and the Registrar. Currently, it is still undecided which organization Veteran Services will fall under. Currently leaning more towards Student Affairs. Second to last topic is the Stole Ceremony coming up on May 15th in the old main ballroom. Miss Amy Moore is currently working on gathering centerpieces and the last finishing touches for the ceremony. More to follow. And the final topic of discussion was in regards to planning Veterans Day on November 11th, where the theme will be female veterans and their accomplishments. With that, I yield to questions.
Wonderful. Any questions for Senator Punz? Going once, going twice. Seeing none, thank you very much, Senator Punz. With that, we are on to internal committee reports, starting with the Student Affairs Committee. Senator Carter, whenever you're ready, you have the floor.
Hi y'all. I'm gonna keep this quick. Student Affairs met on Friday. Director Balistreri and Associate Director Khan went over what they've been working on, and that we got a rare special guest appearance from Fabio, where he answered some questions and concerns that we had. And this Friday, the Student Affairs Committee will not be meeting due to our busy week and the gala. So, with that, Mr. Speaker, right here.
I've got a question. Who is this Fabio?
Fabio is the director who works with Tess and Angela on dining and that, and he works in the hot card office and everything like that. Yes.
He's the assistant director of business and dining services for the university.
I totally
No,
agree.
okay, it's a long time, so that's fine.
Is it true that Fabio is indeed the greatest?
He is, yes.
Fabio's the best, folks. If you get a chance to meet Fabio, he's great. Any other questions for Senator Carter? Going once, going twice, seeing none. With that, we're on to officer reports, starting with the report of our president, Doug Sandbrad.
All right, we're going to focus on two things today. It's going to be a little bit of a lengthier report, so apologies in advance. First, everybody received, I sent the bill, I shared it with you all in your Google Drive. It's a bill that will be proposed to grant emerity status to Laura Dobke, Director of Communications, we had this year and last year. That will be going up next week. So if you have any questions, please let the submitters know. Much debate on the floor, what was that last week? I wanted to make sure you all have extra time to review this bill and ask questions of the submitters. As it seemed last week, many of you wanted to talk to the submitters more about why it's good to preserve service recognition. So please review that. Let myself know, or Senator Carter, or Director Lindemann, if you have any questions. All right, that's that. Now let's get into some fun WSG, ROC, SGA stuff that the speaker and I have been working on with our colleagues over in SGA. Flip to the back of your packet. You'll see a page that says original. This is currently how our standing rules, section 8, are laid out. Right, we go through your requirements and then external, let's just say internal, external, SUFAC, and then the Rock County Committee. Okay, that's not currently how things operate, and it became clear to us at the same time it became clear to SGA students that we had to review this policy. It hadn't been visited in how many, like 8 years, so it's quite outdated. And so the speaker and I went through and wrote a rough draft of what we're going to be proposing. We're not voting on anything tonight. This is just have you email the chance to ask some further questions. What we're proposing is adding a section to our standing rules under committees, changing the title to committees and councils, and listing the UROC Student Government Association as a council. The reason we felt they don't fit under an internal or an external committee is they're going to remain a student organization. That way they can receive student funding and run their own elections. We can work through this. A lot of it is very intentional. I know some folks have asked me about it. Everything is included for a reason, I promise. If you have a question about a certain section, let me know, but we can start going through. The first is the purpose and establishment. So the RSGA shall serve as the primary advisory council for the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater at Rock County students within the UW-Whitewater Shared Governance Framework. Advisory council is defined as a WSG council that provides collective input from its constituents to the WSG and advises the WSG on how to best legislate in relation to the council's specific group of constituents. The RSGA shall maintain its own internal governing document, here recognized as its constitution, which must be submitted to the WSG Constitutional Revision Committee upon ratification or amendment. Their constitution shall not override the WSG Constitution or standing rules. It'll be housed in the WSG appendix of our current standing rules. And the primary purpose of RSGA's constitution is to allow the RSGA to remain a recognized student organization at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater at Rock County. The RSGA and its members must follow and uphold the WSG Constitution, WSG standing rules, and university policies, while also operating within all relevant University of Wisconsin policies and applicable laws. We have the same section there. We do the same thing. Moving on to membership and the leadership, the RSGA shall consist of the UW-Whitewater at Rock County students, including a chair, vice chair, treasurer, WSG Rock County district senators, up to 9 additional representative members. Then we list out requirements for chair, the same requirements for vice chair, and then a secretary and a treasurer. Each of those, the election process will be outlined in the RSGA, your own constitution. All right. All of the representatives shall be appointed through a selection process established by the RSGA in their constitution. Representatives must be currently enrolled in at least one course at the University of Wisconsin at Rock County. All members of the RSGA will be recognized by the WSG speaker and clerk upon their appointment or election as a formality. Once recognized, they're considered full members of the RSGA. Recognition is defined simply as an announcement to the WSG notifying them of any new RSGA students. It'll be placed under special orders and delivered to the Senate. Then the chair and vice chair of the RSGA will serve as ex officio members on the WSG executive board, as already outlined in our section 6.1. Any questions so far? We're about halfway. Any comment from SGA folks? Fantastic. Let's keep chugging along. That's what it'll be.
Okay, great, okay. I was just asking about the name,
Yeah.
so I didn't mean to be quiet.
We move into responsibilities and authority. The RSGA shall have the authority to, and it's a basic list, conduct outreach, representation efforts in the county, host events and initiatives, review and recommend appointments university-wide, and WSG affiliated committees, draft and pass your own resolutions, propose amendments to our standing rules and our constitution, and then any and all responsibilities included in their constitution. SUFEG process, they will conduct their own budget deliberations on behalf of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater at Rock County. The final budget recommendations must be submitted for formal review and presented to the WSG Senate in accordance with the UW system policy. We're on point E now, meetings, requirements, and records. The RSGA shall meet regularly during the academic year, and meetings must be publicized in accordance with Wisconsin open meeting law standards. We do the same thing. All agendas, election results, appointments, meeting minutes, and past resolutions must be submitted to the WSG clerk within 72 hours of the meeting or decision. That's just so the clerk has record of it, as they are a council of the WSG. So we're not sending it out on their behalf, but we receive it when it goes out to their list so that the clerk can keep record of it. Support and oversight. The RSGA shall receive proper support from the WSG Executive Board, speaker, and clerk for training, operations, and outreach initiatives in the event of misconduct or structural failure. This is a big one. So we're on F2. In the event of misconduct or structural failure, the WSG Senate reserves the right to restructure the RSGA in extensive consultation with Rock County students and campus advisors. Restructuring of the RSGA may only occur by 2/3 approval of the RSGA or the Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs and the Dean of the College of Integrated Studies. And then finally, resolutions. Any resolution passed by the RSGA may be submitted to the WSG speaker and placed on the WSG agenda for floor discussion and endorsement within 2 weeks of its original passage. The WSG's resolution template can be found in the Constitution. And adding all that would bump SUFAC down to 8.5. I would yield questions.
Wonderful. Any questions? Senator Cal.
Just to elaborate, what would define as misconduct or structural failure?
Lack of interest in the role. That was really the big one. Yeah, I mean, the big one was, we had issues ourselves with replicating students in our organization. SGA is a smaller organization. If they were ever coming to a time where it was less than 3 students, you might want to change things around. The more equally represented students. But it would have to come from within their organization or the student affairs of the dean of the college. That's to both agree.
Senator Cal.
Just to briefly, pretty sure, just understanding under section B, membership leadership, 1 and 2B, what would does the lack of interest, or it's the lack of interest in the position, would that be assuming no one expresses interest in running for it? Then right. So we keep the point. Right. Thank you for clarification.
Parliamentarian Howard.
Could you tell us more about the process of how this document was developed?
Sure. So it started with the speaker and I and our advisor, Jen, who was a lot of this for a long time. So we reached out to SGA folks and they said, well, we were thinking the exact same thing. It hasn't been reviewed in a long time. So the first thing that I asked SGA to do was I would meet with their president and I said, please submit a document of what you want to keep, what are some things you need assistance with. That way it wasn't operating a meeting at all. Right? I want you to write down your thoughts and then we'll discuss them later. And those thoughts were, we want to keep your elections and things like that. So then I did the drawing board. I thought this would be a really good way of allowing SGA to keep what they want to keep and what makes them unique, while also kind of pulling them in so that they have support from us as well. And wrote a draft of the document you see before you. Once we had that draft, I sent it back to Andy, who shared it with SGA students and their advisor and the dean. Made some edits to that. Once that document was sent back to SGA, I attended one of their meetings. And I came to campus for a day and attended one of the SGA meetings. Some more recommendations were requested, made those edits. So we're on the third draft of that bill now. Made those edits, sent it back. They sent back more edits. We're on to bill 4, and that's what's before you today. So there's been lots of collaboration between our group and their group. I think we're in a place that's comfortable. I yield to any of those folks, and if they want to talk about the process, that's what it was from my perspective.
Any of y'all, also, if you want to comment on any question, by the way, we will totally yield to you at any point. But if you have anything right now, Andy, go ahead.
I hope to never think about it. Right? Yeah, it would be, I imagine, a similar process to this, right? We have to find a solution. There's a problem, let's find a solution. We have to get some really important folks on board to even discuss that or make it happen.
I think for the folks who were in our Senate, January time, or even late November, so not a lot of you, because we were very slim on numbers. So we ourselves have our own attendance issue, and I'll say in drafting this with President Bradley, a huge portion of that restructure thing was, just due to campus size, right? Sometimes we have to ask ourselves questions about how we reallocate seats, or who's going to fill leadership positions in our own organization, and some of those questions very clearly apply to the council as well. So,
an example of a restructure is it's written in right now that up to 2 of our WSG Rock senators will serve on that committee. It might be removing those, it could be some things minor as that, removing those so we have more, it makes the group stronger in their vote, just the SGA portion, if that makes sense.
Senator,
it could be something really minor.
Senator Purnell.
What is the general consensus among the people currently in the SGA? How
Full yield. Full yield. Anyone want to say anything?
I feel like the process so far has been very thorough, very communicative, and we're very comfortable with how the document
Parliamentarian Irwin?
So Speaker Wilson was the only member of the Senate involved with the drafting of this proposal.
Correct. I think it's worth mentioning that CRC is going to meet this week, review the document. All of our committee meetings are completely open. So even though voting, and I'd say a pros and cons list is something that only the membership of that committee can do, the entire CRC is not run the way we run our Senate meetings. You don't have to like raise a placard or anything. If there's something about this bill that you want changed, obviously you have the ability to do that through our amendment process as well. I think the reason we did it in this fashion is because it was really important to myself and President Bradley that in the drafting of this, we included, SGA is full of our constituents, but it's also full of folks who are going to be serving their constituents. And it's really important that not that we don't get too many cooks in the kitchen, but that the cooks in the kitchen are the most relevant people in the process. So President Bradley and I think we're trying our best to not implicate too many hands. It's not about how many hands, it's about getting the right hands in the room. And we thought, who better to go to than the RSGA folks, right? I see on the placard. Advisor Brogan.
Two quick things. One, I would say that reorganization scary thing that's in there. It gives folks like Janine and I a place to go when there is a lapse in people being able to carve out that time, so that it doesn't place us as non-students making decisions for students. And that's really important to us because that's not our job. I'm sorry to speak for your team, but I see you doing that. Right? It's just a lot easier if you tell us, and every organization that's doing what they should be doing to protect the rights of and the interests of people that they advocate for should have a clause like that. Because then it just takes the pressure off. So it shouldn't be a scary thing, it should be a comfort thing. The other piece that I would also share is that, the bylaws that are existing currently right now were written by predominantly, I'm going to just out us as an organization, predominantly by an executive and senators in Whitewater student government many moons ago. And so that their ability was to help bridge the gap at a time where a lot of four-year schools were ignoring the needs of avocation and representation of two-year schools. And so to know that the ROC students had such a primary function in the drafting and amended, I guess I would use that word, of the draft in front of all of you should feel really good, because that means they're doing their job and that they don't need parents, they need cops. So that would just be what I would share for all of you and say thank you for that work, and I look forward to seeing more of that in the future. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield.
Senator Tom.
Just to clarify, what would be a failed election for reform B, section BI1B?
That would be defined in their constitution. A lot of this is pointing to their constitution, right? So years of their constitution. Now that constitution we're going to work on this summer and put out starting next year. It is important to note that has to be approved by our CRC and our Senate.
I think the much more likely outcome there would be lack of interest in the position. Not that it's a likely outcome, but of the two that are listed there, lack of interest in the position is probably more apt one. You follow up?
Just to clarify, this is pointing to a constitution that currently does not exist.
Correct. Parliamentarian Norton?
So it definitely seems like there's overall support from SGA for this proposal, but I'm curious if below the, taking out the totality of it, are there any outstanding areas of disagreement or continuing discussion in relation to this proposal or SGA and WSG's relationship more broadly?
Well, discussion hopefully never ends when it comes to our relationship. I spoke with Andy before the meeting. There is nothing in the current draft for you that is plan on changing before it comes before you as new business.
Apart from our normal processes, of course.
Of course.
Do you have a follow-up, Parliamentarian?
Yes, if there's a difference of opinion in interpretation of these rules or a seeming contradiction between the Constitution and these rules, who would arbitrate and resolve that dispute?
Well, that's depends on what the issue is. If somebody feels that, and these are all going to be hypothetical, I don't like playing in the what if space, but I will venture to ask a question. If somebody feels that SGA is acting in a way that's not in line with our Constitution, we have written here that our Constitution is saying those come first, right? And so, as students, as members of our organization, use it as an IEC. That would be the path to go there. I think I'm really happy with the precedent we've set of communicating. So it's not really written who will kind of take care of things. If I'm here, the president will reach out to the president and we'll try to come to a conclusion on what the miscommunication is. But if it comes down to something's being done wrong and there's proof of that, we have internal evaluation committee.
Also, the purpose of whatever their constitution so like for us, it's a constitutional revisions committee. The purpose of whatever comes out of their constitution, I assume it'll be a constitutional revisions committee. So when they make changes, it'll be the prerogative of their body to ensure that, in the same way it's the prerogative of our body with this piece of legislation, to ensure that there are no like extreme contradictions within the legislation through our constitutional revision process and then amendments on the floor. Their process will look the same. That's kind of another check we have to ensure that we don't have to worry about those supremacy questions. Senator Brunel?
Just to clarify, their funding, is it going to be part of WSG funding or is it going to be something entirely separate?
It'll be separate, right? We wrote it in a way to where they remain a student organization. So if you don't know, we are also a student organization through our own funding, right? So they are a student organization housed under WSG and this draft. And they elect their own folks and approve their own funding, things like that.
Advisor Bilgan?
Just two quick things. I think there are other policies that the institution have that will also overrule potentially their segregated fee allocation guidelines that are currently getting revised. Actually, I think we've seen some of those. So that also has to weigh in on that collaborative leadership. We'll call it that. The other piece that I would share for folks in the room too is that it's imperative that students on the Rock campus talk to and talk about where their fees go. It's actually protected by the state law. So taking that into effect, they're kind of like two processes with segregated fee. All of this is documented in a policy, how that works, and then it comes together and it goes up to the chancellor because it's always in consultation with the chancellor. It's not like this body has ultimate control over all your fees. Sorry if that's news to some of you too, but that's how all that works. So it would be really not good practice for us as a campus if we took that responsibility and advocacy away from the group that's the students who are actually paying that fee.
And in our communications with SGA, that was a huge portion. And obviously there's stuff in state law. I mean, how crazy would it be if the students who weren't paying the segregated fee were the ones dictating the segregated fee? That would be insane. So that's a very clear ask, and it was pretty easy implementation there. So, any other questions? Senator Purnell?
I know one of the problems that we are having is with our communication with Rock County and how we work together. Are there any concerns that this change might create a larger separation?
No, and it's because I'm forcing collaboration. And a couple of sections in here for when we're gone and graduated, that these groups continue to work together. You'll see that we reaffirm that their chair and vice chair will serve as ex-official members on the WSG executive board. Also, the current membership of their group would include any WSG Rock senators. Right, so each of the groups kind of has somebody from the other group that also represents the same constituents. Kind of force the groups together and communicating. I don't have any concerns, especially not with this group.
Parliamentary Norm.
So in these rules, in these proposed changes to the rules, it goes into quite a bit about everything that will go to the WSG Senate. So anything they vote on, which recommends, and I apologize, I'm trying to find the section that describes everything that I believe will be sent to the clerk.
It's like minutes, agenda.
Yeah, so it seems like there will be pretty good methods to ensure WSG is up to date on what they're doing. What similar processes are going to be put in place to ensure Rock County is up to date on what we're doing?
Sure, this is the same as our list service minutes, elected results and all that. That section you're looking for, EI1. It's basically saying, add the clerk to your list serve. Right, take business, send it to minutes, things like that. That's what that section's saying, and that's something we already do.
I mean, I could speak to that a little more robustly. I send an email to all of you normally Sunday, but at least 24 hours before the WSG meeting, where I send out the agenda. Sadie does something similar with the minutes. So in the same way that they give our minutes to, they would give their meetings and agendas to us, we would give our meetings and agenda to them in a similar fashion. Any other questions? Any other comment from any SGA folks? I like, if y'all have anything or want any time, this is yours. Go ahead, ask me.
I'm really thankful for the failure of us. You guys are always helping second. You know it will be difficult for you guys to find Rock County students that go to Rock County Chairs and their main campus. And we do struggle to have the attention to fill the Rock County Chairs. Because over the last summer, I was like the only member and a half of the entire student. It was really scary going into the fall semester. Knowing that I had to hunt down people, and I'm glad that I got these people. So, thank you.
We're really proud of the work that y'all have done as well. Thank you so much. Any other questions, comment? President Bradley, to end things off. I don't know if you have the rest of your report, if you have like a report.
No, I decided to
okay.
keep it light and just go with 2 items for your consideration. But I'm just notifying you that this will be presented and continued with at the next meeting. So no action on this today. Think about it, chew on it. Let me know if you have any questions. I can always get you in touch with the PA students or the speaker. We'd be happy to go over more on that.
Wonderful.
That'll yield.
Any questions, again, for President Bradley, this time in a more umbrella sense? Going once, going twice, seeing none. With that, we are all the way back to the report of our Vice President, Mark Van.
We'll keep this one actually short and sweet. But SGA votes, by a show of hands, how many of you are available this Friday at 5 p.m.?
Oh, wow. Come on.
Nobody. 1, 2. Awesome. Well, we would love to formally invite all of y'all to our WSG Gala. It's going to be at 5 p.m. in the University Center. If you are interested in that, please come see me after. We'd love to have all of you guys there, or all the folks, excuse me. Free of charge, too, so who doesn't like free? But like I said, we'll keep it short and sweet tonight. We got the gala this week, and then President Bradley and I will be facilitating interviews to construct our e-board for next year. With that, I encourage everybody to review my report, but with that, I'm going to
Parliamentarian Erwin.
If any SGA members who are able to attend the gala wish to bring guests, will that be an option available to them?
Any other questions? Going once, going twice, seeing none. With that, we are on to the report of our advisor, Jan Bilgan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Very quickly, just want to make sure that you all know that you are cordially invited, and I hope that you attend the Involvement Awards that are this Sunday in the ballroom at 1 o'clock. Several of the folks in the room have been nominated. You'll find out who wins if you go. And there'll be free food afterwards. Please make sure that you can attend if you're able on Sunday at 1 o'clock. With that, Mr. Speaker, I will yield the question.
Any questions? I have one. Is it true that our organization, Whitewater Student Government, was nominated for an involvement award?
I cannot speak with 100% certainty as it is not my job to to evaluate them, because obviously I would have a conflict of interest. But if you think enough to ask that question, my guess is the answer is.
Would you yield to me?
I will yield to you, Mr.
Yes, we are. Come in, we win. It'll be great. Oh my goodness. Any other questions for advisability? Once, going twice. Seeing none. With that, we are on to the e-board report, starting with the report of our Director of Academic Affairs, Abby Ryan. Any questions? I have one. Even in the absence of the deputy speaker, is it true that the instructor awards are a mandatory event?
Yes.
And what does that mean? And you feel free to yield.
If you don't have an excusable absence, but if you do have a prior obligation, then I totally understand, but if not, please be sure that you're there.
And you just have to communicate that to the deputy speaker, of course. Director Smith. Ooh.
Business casual. So like anything that you would wear here, you can wear there.
Any other questions? Advisability?
Is it true that a Rock County instructor will be recognized at the cabinet meeting tomorrow when they're here at the Rock County campus?
Yes, so they'll be recognized here tomorrow, also, tomorrow night, or at 4 p.m. I'll still be recognizing them for the main campus, but they will be recognized on campus tomorrow.
Any other questions? Going once? Going twice? Seeing none. With that, we're on to the report of our Director of Student Affairs, Joe Balistrieri.
Hope y'all are hanging in there. Finally, you have my report. But for those who are in the Internal Student Affairs Committee, you're not going to be meeting this Friday to the gallery and all their applications happening. So with that,
Any questions for Director Balistrieri? Going once? Going twice? Seeing none. Wonderful. With that, we'll move on to the report of our Associate Director of Student Affairs, Abe Kahn.
Yeah, happy week 13. But besides that, I yield to my report and I remind everyone to take care of themselves before finals.
Any questions for Director Kahn? Going once? Going twice? Seeing none. With that, we're on to the report of our Director of Intergovernmental Affairs, Orrin Smith.
Hi everyone, mostly yielding to my report. Last week was set for small awareness month, which means Wednesday is down, right down Wednesday. Thank you, I yield to my report.
Any questions for Director Smith? Going once? Going twice? Seeing none. With that, we're on to the report of our Director of Communications, Peggy Linneman.
Video, due to sake of time, I will also be yielding to the report.
Understood. Any questions for Director Linneman? Going once? Going twice? Seeing none. With that, we are on to the report of our WSG clerk,
Hi.
J. West.
I also yield to my report.
Wonderful. Any questions for Madam Clerk? Going once? Going twice? Seeing none. With that, we're on to the report of our Senate parliamentarian, Blake Irwin.
Hello, I will attempt to keep it brief. 2 reminders, your third and final outreach event, which includes getting 15 surveys filled out by students, is due May 4th, this coming Sunday at 11:59. Also, the deadline for submitting legislation, S-bills, need 2 meetings to approve, so time has run out for those, unless somehow there could be another meeting in between now and then. But you can still submit as many R-bills, resolutions, as you want. So if there is anything you're working on, make sure you get it done this week. If you need any assistance with it or help figuring out what is an S versus an R coded bill, just let me or the speaker, or I'm sure Patricia, so he isn't here to nod or shake his head, would be happy to help you with that. With that, I yield to my report.
Any questions for Parliamentarian Irwin? I do have one. Let's say, theoretically, I was a senator who either got sworn in at the last meeting or appointed at this meeting to be sworn in at the next meeting. Will I have to do an outreach event?
That is an excellent question. No, you will be exempt.
Wonderful. Any other questions? Going once? Going twice? Seeing none. With that, the Deputy Speaker, Nick Patricus, wishes you all a happy Rock County meeting, and we are all wishing him well wishes as he gets better and soon. With that, we'll move on to my report. If you would, give me one moment to flip to the page of my report. This week, Wednesday, we are partnering with Dining to a Stop Food Waste event. It's been mentioned in the student affairs reports before this, but we need a few folks, not a lot, to table. You're welcome to stop by the event and say hi and mingle with some dining folks. But if you want to be one of the folks who meets, I believe the aforementioned Fabio will be swinging by. Kenny, who works in graphics and marketing for dining, will be there. If you want to meet Tess, I believe she said she's swinging by at the last Warhawk Dining Advisory meeting. If you want to get a chance to meet, mingle with some of those folks, talk about stopping food waste, and also advertise it to students with big, clear waste baskets that show exactly how much food kind of gets wasted through a one meal eating period. If that's something that would be of interest to you, please come talk to me after the meeting. Like I said, it's not like I don't know if you've seen those new Jubilee videos. It's not like a rush to the situation, but it is kind of going to be first come, first serve. So like, be safe as you rush me, but we only have a few spots. So thank you very much. With that, normal kind of stuff from last week, but I did have a very nice Warhawks vote meeting with our advisor Bilgin, as well as Director Smith, in regards to planning for future elections and how we can mobilize and make sure that those things are best done. And I'm also working on a transition binder for my role. That's a personal goal of mine that I wanted to have completed by the end of the semester. So if anyone wants to come talk to me about what you think should be in a speaker transition binder that might be like super relevant Senate-wise, I would love to hear about it. Otherwise, I'll yield to the rest of my. Oh, one very important thing. I can see how many folks have filled out the Senator of the Year nominations. Please nominate other folks for Senator of the Year. I don't care if you nominate whoever you want, but there are not a lot of you who have submitted it yet. And if you want to say and who gets awarded Senator of the Year at the gala, please fill it out. It's in your email. I will ask a quick question. Would it help if I resent it? No? You all got it? Okay, perfect. Wonderful. Please fill it out. It is due, like I said last week, 11:59 tonight. 11:59 tonight. Wonderful. Otherwise, I yield the question starting with Senator Reyes.
For me, it would be helpful if you could resend.
I can resend it to you personally. Indeed. Any questions? Going once? Oh, there was another thing I wanted to mention, and I can't believe I almost forgot it, and it's super relevant. Oh my God. Okay, so this week, because we want to be as respectful of time as possible, and somebody asked the question earlier, what does the Rock County Constitution look like? There is an existing one, but there's a lot of work that needs to go into that, and lots of folks are really eager to get to work on that as soon as possible. And as Parliamentarian Irwin just mentioned in his report, S-bills take 2 weeks, and we're out of 2 weeks. But I wanted to ensure that the CRC process moved as in line as possible and had as much Senate involvement as possible. So, like I said earlier, those CRC meetings are open, and there will be one held this week. We will get it announced to everyone 24 hours before the meeting. It would be highly advised you show up. Apart from that, we will also be calling a special session to introduce the legislation. So it'll look exactly like a normal introduction of legislation. We'll introduce the legislation. As per the standing rules, you will get 24-hour notice before that special session, but that allows it to go in unfinished business before our meeting next week, so that we can pass it, so that that communication that was asked about earlier can continue to take place over the summer, so that folks can continue to be hard at work and not feel burdened by our end of the process not moving as fast as it should. Any questions on that, Senator Carter?
Do you know when it will be held yet?
Likely on Wednesday or Friday, because it's going to be, it's likely going to be very tandem, as in like 30 minutes to an hour adjacent to that CRC. Like CRC might end at say 6 o'clock and the special session might start at 6 o'clock. Me and the deputy speaker, because he's the chair of CRC, are doing the best we can to manage everybody's calendar to get as many folks to both of those as possible. What is most important for us is that as many people are in those rooms as possible, and that we give you that 24-hour notice. So we're looking at calendars to ensure that that's the case. There's a lot going on Friday, obviously, and I know as much as you love everyone who's sitting to your right and left, you may not want to spend like literally 8 hours with them. So if we can do it on Wednesday, we'll probably be able to do it on Wednesday. I would presume the CRC meeting will go about an hour, and I will presume the introduction of the legislation will go about 20 minutes. We'll probably schedule an hour and a half to 2 hours for the two of them. Senator Kyle.
And what's the rough time range you were thinking for that? I know you don't have anything specific, but what kind of time ranges are you thinking?
By time ranges, do you mean length of the meetings,
No,
or?
like, when I start like thinking like 5, 4, like even roughly, just so we could,
Post noon, Wednesday or Friday, and before 10 p.m. President Bradley.
CRC is probably scheduled 3:30 to 4:30. Not saying it's going to stay on. They may try to find a better time, but 3:30 and 4:30 right now is the CRC meeting.
Yeah, that's the one that's currently scheduled. That's a hold. So everyone who's already on CRC has that hold on their Outlook calendar right now. I guess this is another plug, particularly for the new senators in the room, but also everyone. If you've been around a while, this has probably gotten to your ears already. But make sure Outlook calendar is like updated. Like if you have a lunch with a friend that you never ever miss and wouldn't drop it for anything, that's totally fine. Just make sure it's on your Outlook calendar. It helps us ensure that we can get as many of y'all in the room as possible. Parliamentarian.
Would you be willing to place any other S-bills on the agenda for the special session if they were submitted to you?
I would say probably. To be respectful of the reason we're calling this special session is, like I said, to be as key and as aware of the time it might take for folks to do the kinds of work they want to do over the summer. But if that kind of scenario existed for a different piece of legislation, we absolutely would. Any other questions? Going once? This is for real this time, I hope. Hope I'm not forgetting anything again. Going once? Going twice? Seeing none. With that, we are on to unfinished business, of which we have none. New business, of which we have none. Announcements. President Bradley.
Gala RSVPs were due at 5 o'clock today. Sending them until 11:59. Do not RSVP by then. We will not have food for you. Including SJ, right? I need you to RSVP if you want to attend. This is also for those people who haven't attended to the family event. Bring families, bring friends, RSVP for them, okay? Main campus students are free. Families and folks that will have to pay. And then also, Jashira, come see me after the meeting, please.
Advice vote. Did you?
Just a friendly reminder that there will be people handing out free things and free stickers, and they're not scary. They're there to just help lift everybody's spirits to get us through exam week. So whether you're on the Rock campus, on the shuttle, or on the Whitewater campus, feel free to accept those things from that building. So, thank you.
Director Smith. Senator Carter.
There will be axe throwing in the Hamilton room on Thursday, 1 to 3 p.m. And if you're also graduating, there will be grad cap decorations and I believe a musician who was on American Idol. So, yeah.
Like sharp axes?
Yeah. Yeah, like axe throwing.
Like real?
Show up and find out.
Show up and find out.
Parliamentarian Irwin.
Once more, outreach due May 4th at 11:59. Anyone who's not exempted has heard me go through a list of possible activities. Magic show still gets you reduced to 10. So, and if you need any assistance getting your outreach event done, please reach out and I will assist you with that.
Any other questions? Going once. Any other announcements? Director, Vice President Bain.
Yeah, I just said that just now. Yes, if you do a magic show to get your outreach event, you only need to get 10 surveys done rather than the 15. I believe we were supposed to have someone complaining that
Would have been Senator Keith. He's not present tonight. Director Smith. Also, stop food waste day, just a reminder, don't rush me like a Jubilee video, but we do need like a few folks. Any other announcements? Going once, going twice, seeing none. With that, we're on to adjournment. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Senator Gross. Seconded by Senator Reyes. Wonderful. Can I get a voice vote? Any opposed? Hearing and seeing none, we're out of here at 8:11.